heart and soul of this Gaucho team.
Heidegger, a big change this year. We'll get into what the coaching staff put into him. Obviously in the starting lineup tonight, here are the starting five. First for UC Riverside, Chance Murray, a redshirt senior, top 5 of the conference in steals. Dikembe Martin, top 5 in three-point and free throw shooting. And then you got on the UCSB side, Leland King, the second redshirt senior, number 1 in the conference in rebounds, and Gabe Vincent, a 1,000-plus point scorer, preseason All-Big West Conference selection. This one should be a lot of fun, Richie.
I'm excited. I am really looking forward to it. Contrasting styles. UC Santa Barbara, they're more 4-around-1, a bit more athletic. UC Riverside, you'll see them. They'll have 2 bigs in the game at any given time.
Santa Barbara in white wins the tip, and you see Heidegger with the ball right off the bat. Leading the conference, 21 points per game. Go down low. Larson, good defense there for UC Riverside. Ball batted out of bounds. It'll stay with Santa Barbara, but that was a focal point for the Gauchos. They want to go after Larson, who's one of the best bigs in the conference.
And that's going to be a terrific matchup. Canty's long and athletic for UC Santa Barbara. Alex Larson, big, strong post player for UC Riverside. You see they like to spread it out right here. 4 guys on the perimeter. Canty inside, going to work, setting back screens and posting up.
King for 3, knocks it down. Leland King, a 46% three-point junior. Not junior, the second.
That's right.
Here's a drive on the other end. Good defense from King. Heidegger, pull-up jumper. Nice 5-0 run to start for the Gauchos.
Well, you can see that beautiful touch and stroke on Heidegger's shot. No matter where he is on the floor, that's an off-balance runner shot that he took.
Just night 2 in the wild, wild Big West. How crazy is it? No team so far has more than 1 win at this point.
You see Heidegger right here. He goes sideline, looks like he's going to go all the way, jumps off his left leg, and at the apex of his shot, as high as he can possibly be, knocks down that mid-range jumper.
It's a very good chance at the end of the night. Best record in the conference is going to be 1-0 UC Davis. Everyone else is going to be 1-1, depending on the result of this one and one other game in overtime right now in the Big West. Drive. Looked like a foul there. Offensive board for Larson. And still no call from the referees. Big hit on DJ Sylvester on his lay-in attempt. Gauchos down low. King, kick out. 3-ball on the way. In and out.
That's what the Gauchos want to do. Whether they drive it into the paint or get a post player that catches the ball in the paint. If they're not scoring there, they're kicking it out to their three-point shooters. And this team, an outstanding three-point shooting team at about 39%.
Larson gets the putback off the block shot. Alex Larson, 6'10", senior in the scorer's ledger. He's from Södertälje, Sweden. 5-2, Gauchos leading about 2 minutes in. Marcus Jackson, the transfer from Rice, feeds Heidegger, 4-3.
If you're UC Riverside, you cannot leave Heidegger open. He's shooting mid-40%.
Second in the Big West through non-conference play, hitting 3 triples per contest. 8-2 quickly in favor of the Gauchos. Martin into the corner, 3 on the way from Murray. Won't go, rebound for Marcus Jackson. Jackson trying to go coast to coast and could not finish the lefty lane. A foul, though, called. Will go on Brandon Rosser, his first, team's first.
But we're going to see that all game. I mean, UC Santa Barbara loves to get up and down the floor like that. You've seen their transition so far in this one, but even more impressively, the biggest player on the floor for them is number 5, Jalen Canty. If the foul wasn't called, he was there for the rebound. So your big man is running the floor, trying to get those second opportunities.
Marcus Jackson, redshirt senior, a graduate transfer from Rice, where he was a 1,000-point scorer in Conference USA. Second one rattles home. He's 2 for 2, and it's 10-2. Gauchos on top. It's the Highlanders team that's seen a lot of change here in 2018. Justin Bell just taking over with the start of conference play.
He almost had himself a victory in his first game at Cal State Fullerton, losing that one by 3 points with about 15 seconds to go. They let up an and one.
Kimbe Martin misses the three. Rebound to Lakoju. Big center sets the screen for Heidegger. Kick Jackson. He'll try from distance. And the miss is corralled by Alex Larson.
And this is where UC Riverside can have some success if they protect the paint. They didn't protect it very well in that Cal State Fullerton game. They gave up 44 points down inside there. If they can take away the drive and keep players on the outside the perimeter, they're going to be just fine against a Santa Barbara team.
10-2 in favor of the Gauchos. We've hit 2 threes so far. Try and go down low to Lakoju, but it's stripped away by the Highlanders. Chance Murray, the Arizona State transfer, drives inside, banks it home.
Chance Murray, the Arizona State transfer, now in his senior year, played his first 2 seasons in the Pac-12. I think he's one of the most talented players on this UC Riverside team. Now, he has struggled to shoot the basketball this season, but if he can get back to form, I mean, UC Riverside can be really dangerous with his inside-outside attack.
4 minutes in, driving underneath. Lakoju gets away with running over Larson. No whistle and an easy bucket. Justin Bell hopping mad on the sideline. 12-4, Santa Barbara on top.
Look at that. Alex Larson loves to be in that spot. He'll take that little running hook shot.
Spins away from the double team, and nice lefty hook.
And that's one thing Larson has gotten better at since his freshman year. Loves that little slide dribble move, and he goes to that opposite shoulder. He can finish with his right hand on that hook shot. He can finish on it with his left hand.
Heidegger creates some space. Too strong on the triple. Rebound to Larson. He's having a good opening 5 minutes of play here for the Highlanders, who trail by 6. And an offensive foul now against UC Riverside. Second personal already on Brandon Rosser. Santa Barbara up 12-6. It's his mentor, Sean Miller, who he was on the staff at Arizona with a year ago, says a lot of what they're doing here in wine country is what they did out there in the desert.
And he talks about his original mentor and being the Indiana manager in Bob Knight. So he says a lot of what he does is very Bob Knight and a ton from Sean Miller.
Down low, Lakoju able to finish despite the flyby. And Santa Barbara stretches the lead to 8. And Joe Pasternak's got a pretty good who's who list of mentors and fellow coaches that he's worked with in his still young career. Spot up jumper from the baseline finds its way through for James Jackson, the senior, in the scorer's ledger.
And James Jackson, one of 3 players for UC Riverside in the rotation that are walk-ons. And this is a team that is very deep and has a lot of experience, and 3 of those guys are walk-ons that play a lot of minutes.
It's a scrappy Riverside team. A lot, though, they're going to lean on Alex Larson and Dikembe Martin for that inside-outside game. Here's Martin with the basketball, pitches it out. Sylvester for 3. Off the mark, rebound King for the Gauchos.
And Riverside does such a tremendous job of passing the ball, sharing it, finding open shooters. Been a little down in the shooting category this season, only 30% from 3. But, man, they get a lot of great open looks.
King with an open look at 3. Second triple of the night.
That young man, Leland King, the transfer from Nevada, averaged under 4 points a game in that Mountain West Championship team a season ago. And now having big numbers, almost 17 a game, averaging a double-double for the Gauchos, the grad transfer.
Steal underneath, Gabe Vincent with the takeaway. Vincent, 1,000-point scorer in his Santa Barbara career, gives to King. King all the way to the 10. And a timeout for the Highlanders.
Somebody's got to stop that guy. He's the Big West Conference Championship. The way we've seen the turnaround by Coach Pasternak here at UC Santa Barbara has been very, very impressive.
Substitutions into the game on both sides. Saw Dominic Pickett with the specs on. He's got the basketball right now for Riverside. UCR in gold. UC Santa Barbara in white. Just the second game of Big West Conference action for both enduring heartbreaking losses in the opener. Chance at an offensive rebound, tapped out of bounds. Last touch by Riverside. It'll go to the Gauchos. UC Riverside losing at Cal State Fullerton, the game they led by 2 heading down the stretch. And UC Santa Barbara, they were up a bucket with less than a second left in the game, ended up fouling a three-point shooter on a desperation heave in a somewhat controversial call, taking the loss at rival Cal Poly. Fadeaway jumper. A miss from Gabe Vincent, and on the rebound, foul going against the Gauchos, Jalen Canty.
Well, both these teams, you're talking about the heartbreaking losses they've come off of. That's the great thing about basketball. If you're on a football team and you lose on a Friday or Saturday, or even a Sunday at the professional, you have to wait an entire week before you can get revenge. You know, both these teams, they're angry. They're not happy about the way they lost. They both feel like they should be undefeated, 1-0 in conference play, having that good start. Neither of them are. Both of them lost on the road, so they both look at this as an opportunity to get back in that win column and even it up.
Riverside digging deep onto the bench, trailing by 11, approaching the 12-minute mark. Jumper missed by Chance Murray. Tie up on the floor, and it's recovered by Christian Terrell. Jackson for three. Off the miss, Leland King has the board. King stripped from behind. Foul, though, is going to go against Eric Rawwire. His first personal. And that'll take us to a timeout to now being a more significant player. And also, Max Heidegger, the sophomore, who last year was pretty frustrated, not a particularly good shooter at about 20% from deep. They reworked his shot entirely. Now he's one of the best shooters in the nation. 19-8 the score. Santa Barbara with the lead.
Look at that pass.
Heidegger open from distance.
It's the two-man game. Jackson and Heidegger going back and forth. It's a little two-man game. I like when players can do that. Who are you going to guard? Both of them are very threatening with the basketball in their hand.
Conference scoring leader has 8. Fade away finds its way through for Chance Murray. He has 4 and trying to keep the Highlanders somewhat within traction of UC Santa Barbara. It's tough right now. They're down a dozen.
You know what's funny about this UC Santa Barbara team? When we talk about those three players that are leading the Big West in categories, we forget to mention Gabe Vincent. I mean, Gabe Vincent tore his ACL after 20 games last year. He's averaging 15 points a game. He's been an all-conference player in this league, and now as a senior, you know, he's not leading the league in any category, but what an experienced veteran player that can really fill it up and is averaging double-digit figures.
Got two guys, Vincent, the guy you just saw knock down that shot, Marcus Jackson, who have over 1,000 points in their careers. And most people on campus will tell you they're not the number 1 or 2 options, not by a long shot.
See, that's depth, a lot of depth. And, you know, the thing is, Coach Pasternak, now he's been a head coach before. And a lot of head coaches get their job. They've never been a head coach before. So he has that experience down at New Orleans. He's made his mistakes. He's improved on them. He knows what kind of coach he is. Then he went to go for a top 5 program in Arizona, was there for 6 years. I mean, so you have a guy that is extremely well experienced, and then you have a guy, a veteran group. You have some guys healthy that weren't healthy last year. You have some guys that are eligible that weren't eligible last year. He's got a really good job here, and I think he's got an opportunity to win for years to come.
Riverside's Kennedy had it saved and then immediately dribbled it off the sideline, so a turnover to Santa Barbara. And Coach Pasternak worked with some incredible talent. Think of the guys that came through Arizona during his time with Sean Miller. A few lottery picks like Stanley Johnson. He's coached some of the best in the game and is hoping to bring some of them here to wine country.
Well, you talk about the players that have come through here. Brian Shaw. You know, he's a former Gaucho players. Al Williams just signed a big contract.
3 falls for Eric Rawwire, redshirt sophomore, a Canadian who missed all of conference action a year ago with an injury. They've got a legal screen whistled against UC Santa Barbara. This will go on Ami Lakoju, his first. 3rd team foul. Alex Larson subbing back into the game. He seemed to be the key on both sides during shoot-around. UC Santa Barbara trying to get him out of the game by fouls or whatever you can, and Riverside knowing they needed to lean on their big Swede.
Larson has finished better this year than I remember him finishing in the previous 3 years. And they actively look for him inside. He's not just a big body for defense and for cleanup rebounds. They look for him with his back to the basket.
Johnny Kennedy hits the triple.
He is now 50% from three on the season, only 6 of 12. And you have a guy that comes off the bench at 6'8" that can knock down threes. That's a weapon.
Santa Barbara's lead trimmed to 11. Near steal for Kennedy. King, open look at three.
His third three-pointer of the game. He can post you up. He can drive on you. He can spot up, pick and pop threes.
Graduate transfer, first man into double figures. He has 11. Now a foul on the other end. Lakoju called for a hold as they try to enter the ball down low to Alex Larson. Substitutions into the game. Rawwire checking out for Chance Murray. And Lakoju will sit down with his second personal. Subbing in for him is another big Canadian, Alex Hartz, 6'10" from British Columbia. Offensive board for Riverside. Dikembe Martin's second look is good from inside the arc.
That's one advantage that the Highlanders have. They get offensive rebounds. They can get second chance opportunities. You saw it right there. And that's their third offensive board and second bucket as a result. So they make things happen. That's one of the best shots in basketball. You get that offensive rebound and kick it out. That shot's usually open.
Heidegger, the conference's scoring leader, all the way in and lays it home.
He just played 3 or 4 guys on the way to the basket. Crossover, the move, the craftiness by Heidegger.
Sophomore from the beautiful sandy beaches of Malibu. Makes it 29-18. Santa Barbara on top. Pass over the top. 3 from Murray. Finds its way down. His first triple of the night.
He is a volume three-point shooter. You know, last year finished second in every major category on this team. And this year is about 12 points a game. His shot, like I said, is a little off.
Gabe Vincent, his shot off the mark there. Rebound DJ Sylvester. Riverside wants to run. We got a foul on the floor. Larson getting shoved out of the paint. And a lot of pushing and shoving against Larson. Normally he's the guy picking up those fouls. Right now he's drawing them from the Gauchos.
He's 260 pounds of strength down inside, but Leland King, he can drive on you. If you make a mistake, though, he's going to knock down that three-point shot.
All right.
Complete team he's had, the deepest team he's had. No player had transferred out in a couple years, so it had finally been stabilized at UC Riverside. They had been recruiting locally, and last season only had 8 scholarship players, only 6 most of Big West play. But they say he was fired because he wasn't winning enough mid-season, so 2 years left on his contract. Now they're going to have to do a national search once the season is over.
Got a foul against Santa Barbara. Sam Farber, former NCAA head coach Richie Schuler, here with you at the Thunderdome in Santa Barbara. UCSB hosting UC Riverside. Among the many impacts that changing a head coach has mid-season, one that I thought was interesting Coach Bell talked about was you're down an assistant now, and we asked him, what kind of impact does that have on you? He said, really not a whole lot. He referenced watching some ESPN Classic footage and seeing the Lakers when Pat Riley came out of the broadcast booth and went over. He said, I looked at the bench, there was one assistant there. So it's not as if there's not enough bodies to do the work. It's just reformatting what people's assignments are going to be.
Yeah, and he talked a lot about how, hey, the focus is going to be the same as it was under Dennis Cutts. We're probably not going to have any huge changes, same fundamental beliefs. He's going to have to coach to his personality. But, he said Coach Cutts, just a classy guy. Classy guy. He was more concerned about helping Justin prepare for the next games than he was about getting fired. And I know that has been a difficult time for Dennis Cutts. I think the firing has been a little bit underexplained. We haven't really heard anything from the moment it happened. And I think there's a lot of answers people are still waiting to hear, to be quite honest with you.
The new athletic director in charge, and that usually comes with change, but a lot of people really rooting for Justin Bell. He's an alum of UC Riverside. It's a program that since becoming Division I has not made it to the big dance, so there's hope that he'll be able to turn this program all the way around. Shot clock violation there. Heidegger did not draw iron on the runner. He will sub out. Leland King back in, as well as Christian Terrell. UC Riverside trailing by 8 here, a 5-10 team, but one that took one of the preseason conference favorites, Cal State Fullerton, to the wire on Wednesday.
I like it. They just keep giving it to Larson. Now you see the double team, so that pass out's going to be important the rest of the game.
Sylvester with the drive, strip, ball kicked out of bounds, and they say it came off the Highlanders.
How about DJ Sylvester, though? This is a player that's averaging about 6-7 points a game, and had just went off in Coach Bell's first game as head coach at Fullerton. He had 24 points. He was 5 of 5 from 3. Now, before the game, he was shooting about 20% from 3. After the game, now he's shooting 33% from behind the arc.
Career high 24, and now a travel. Nope, 3 seconds the call against UC Santa Barbara. Coach Pasternak said a similar thing. Sometimes when a new coach becomes the man in charge, it's like having a different conductor for the orchestra. Different sections start playing better.
Yeah, and you wonder how are players going to react to when Coach Cutts got let go. And, Justin Bell, the assistant coach is usually the good cop. The head coaches are the bad cop. So when the good cop becomes the head coach, do players loosen up and feel a little bit better? How do they play? I'll tell you, they've continued to compete for the last game and a half since he's taken over as head coach. So that's a good sign and a good head coaching strategy and move by Justin Bell.
Murray misses the 3. Rebound tapped and controlled by Gabe Vincent. Gauchos want to run. Jackson underneath. Alley-oop pass finds its way to Terrell.
6'4" point guard. What terrific eyes. And there's 2 guys by the basket. I didn't know he was passing to.
5 and change left in the first half. Santa Barbara's lead balloons back to 10. Dikembe Martin. Drive, off-balance runner, won't go. Rebound to King. Conference rebounding leader feeds Vincent. 4-3. Yes, sir. He's in the scorer's book. Everyone's feeling it for the Gauchos.
That young man, Gabe Vincent, we talked about that ACL. You talked about over 1,200 career points. And they talk about how hard he worked to rehab that knee after tearing it last January. And, he looks to be full strength.
Santa Barbara leading by 13. They foul Martin as he drove the lane. And Dikembe Martin will be at the line. They say it's on the floor, so 1-and-1 free throws coming up. Subs running in for UC Santa Barbara, including Maxwell Kupchak. It's a familiar name for basketball fans, not just down here in Southern California, but across the nation. He's the son of Mitch Kupchak, former Lakers general manager, won a few titles. Front end of the 1-and-1 missed by Martin. There's Mitch. Comes to every game. That's his spot. Our apologies for exposing it.
How much longer is it going to be a spot now?
Heidinger, the leading scorer in the Big West, 21 points per game.
Look at that help side. Help side rotation by Alex Larson. 2 hands up and took the hit in the chest.
Coming up on the 4-minute mark. Riverside down a dozen.
UC Riverside bench begging. Give it to the big man inside. Let him go to work.
Foul on the floor. It'll go against Heidinger, his first, and it'll be bonus.
You talk to some of the people around the program about Max Heidinger. They talk about how intelligent he is, how book smart he is as a young man. Now, he's a guy that was really burnt out after last season. It was a tough year for former head coach Bob Williams. Had a lot of guys injured, lost 5 players the second half of the season. He had 4 walk-ons playing at one time, oftentimes in games. And Max Heidinger, I think he was a bit burnt out. Now, new head coach comes in, a little bit of a revival. And I think he feels good, obviously, averaging 22 points a game. He is the heart and soul of this program.
Leland King. Shot contested. I think blocked, actually, by Larson. He's doing a great job in the paint. 3.5 minutes remaining in the opening half. Santa Barbara with the 12-point lead. Pick and roll looking for Larson, and too tall for the Swede.
Talk about Larson protecting the paint down there. That's a weakness for UC Santa Barbara right now, or for UC Riverside, rather. Like I said, they gave up 44 points in the paint at Fullerton on Thursday. They've already given up 10 here to UC Santa Barbara. That's a key for them. They have to protect the paint on the defensive end, while on the offensive end, they need to take advantage of their size in the paint.
Heidinger drives. Another good defensive play by Larson. Another block for the big Swede. 3 minutes left in the first half. Sylvester off the heel, rebound batted out, controlled by Murray. Down low, Rosser will lay it in.
Again, another second chance opportunity for UC Riverside.
Created by Alex Larson. No one started more games in UC Riverside history than the 6'10 Swede.
And the bottom line here, really, if you look at the statistics, UC Riverside's just not making shots. They're getting great looks, not making them, and UC Santa Barbara is.
Gabe Vincent knocks down his second three of the night. He is fifth in Santa Barbara history for career-made threes, and climbing that list. Turnover to the Gauchos. Lead is 13. Lob for King. Rosser bats it, but saves it to Santa Barbara, and an easy lay-in for Alex Hartz.
You appreciate the hustle by Brandon Rosser to try to get a hand on that basketball, but he's expecting his teammates to be running down the floor as fast as him to help him with that deflection. Deflected it right in the hands.
You're the
Gaucho offensive player, yeah.
You're the former head coach, Richie. Isn't that a rule? Don't save it under your own basket?
It is. It is. At the same time, I think when you're up in the air like that, you just have to try to get a hand on it so that they don't get it for a layup. Honestly, I'm not sure that the other UC Riverside players were getting down the floor as fast as he was.
Chance Murray with a bucket. 90 seconds left in the first half. Lead is 13. Make it 16. Leland King has 14 all on his own.
4 triples. 4. That has to be another point of emphasis. You have to guard the paint, protect it, but then make sure you're taking care of the three-point shots, too. They have made 7 of them.
Lob was looking for Sylvester, and it was too short. Foul in transition. Larson picks up his first. Mentioned 4 threes. 4 threes from the conference's leading rebounder.
How about that, right? You don't hear that too often. I think that was a really good foul there by Alex Larson, by the way. All the momentum going to UC Santa Barbara. I mean, they're trying to blow this thing open. He fouls it to stop momentum. And we talked to Coach John Pasternak before the game and shoot-arounds and whatever, and he was telling his players, look, they're here to make a statement. They're coming off a loss they thought they should have won. You guys have to be tough. You can't be soft. And his players are playing that way now.
Beautiful look underneath, and one play for Leland King.
So Leland King so good with the basketball in his hands. But did you see that cut? He cut off the basketball from the opposite wing to the ball side block, and he face cut his opponent. That's one thing on defense. You don't want to let the offensive player you're guarding cut across your face. You're in deep, deep water if that happens.
And one goes. Makes it 44-25. On our next Super Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, number 11 Texas A&M, except for Kentucky.
Absolutely, and that's a game on the road in Rupp Arena that I have confidence they can win. And that's really where you separate yourself. I mean, as a program, you want to protect home court, win all your home games. But if you want to compete for a conference championship, a national championship, you have to be able to win on the road. At least win half your road games, if not all of them, as many as you can, obviously.
10-second differential between game and shot clock, and Santa Barbara will use it or lose it timeout here with a 19-point lead.
Tonight's win for them would double last year's win total. They were 6-22. They're coming off that tough loss at Cal Poly. They were up by 21 points, gave up the lead, and lost with 0.3 of a second left. And so, I mean, this is a team that's hungry. They're energized. They play with intensity. They compete. They have a lot of experience, depth. Always have a lot of scores and almost 4 shooters on the floor at any given time.
Dealing with a lot of adversity besides just a losing season a year ago. We'll talk in the second half about how those big wildfires across Southern California affected this Santa Barbara program. This shot, a chance for the last shot now for UC Riverside off the rebound by Murray. Slips it to the corner. 3 from Jackson goes, and that'll do it for the first half. James Jackson helps Riverside end on a high note. Still 3 scores in the conferences the Gauchos do, including that young man, Max Heidegger.
Great player, and I think UC Santa Barbara is going to have to expect that UC Riverside might go to their 3-2 zone package. I think we need to expect to see that, try to change it up, deviate from what they've been doing in the first half. And I think it's good at UC Riverside right away trying to go down inside to their big man.
Alex Larson, good quality touch and quality bucket early. He has 8 points to go with 8 rebounds. Both of those are amongst the game's leaders. The rebounding is outright. Gabe Vincent missing the 3, and the rebound to Dikembe Martin. Islanders trailing by 14. Sam Farber alongside former NCAA head coach Richie Schuler. Thanks for staying up late after midnight start time on the East Coast here in Santa Barbara. Gauchos get the stop right away underneath. Canty can't finish, but he'll head to the line.
With both these teams trying to quote-unquote punch the other team in the mouth. You want to always do that in the first 5 minutes of any half to set the tone. The Gauchos did that in the first half, got this little cushion coming into the second half. You know, second half, we've seen so many times where a team is not as competitive, not as energetic, as intense as they were in the first half. You know, that's going to be something that this UC Santa Barbara team, if they haven't learned to do already under Coach Pasternak, they're certainly going to have to learn how to do it in conference play, because UC Riverside is a program under Coach Dennis Cutts, now under Coach Justin Bell, that never gives up. They could be down 30 points. They'll make that a single-digit game by game's end.
Jalen Canty goes 2 for 2 at the stripe. He had a career-high 21 points in the loss to Cal Poly. That's the first time he's gotten on the board. Another stop for Santa Barbara. Transition 3 from Jackson.
Love teams that push the basketball up the floor by passing it across half court. You know, too many young players want to dribble the ball across half court. When you have open shooters on the wings going down to the corners, you have to get the ball up to them. It paid off there, as their point guard was the guy that was on the wing for the three-point shot in Jackson.
Heidegger hit with the personal. It's his second. Lead is 19 after the 3 by Marcus Jackson. Point guard, graduate transfer from Rice. Martin sends it in to Murray, and Riverside will try and start chipping away here, down by 19. Rosser from the corner. And the rebound to Jackson.
Just a really good look.
Heidegger from distance. Yes, sir. Timeout, Riverside. The bench. Coach.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say in that National Football Championship, I'm going to go with an SEC team.
Ha! Good call. That's the coach, Richie Schuler. I'm Sam Farber. We're glad to have you with us. Late night here in Santa Barbara, where the Gauchos are putting it on Riverside. They lead by 22. Their combo of Max Heidegger and Leland King have combined for 30. Just those two alone tonight for the Gauchos.
A lot of good players around them, setting them up for those three-point shots. You know, putting that ball in a silver platter right where they like to shoot the basketball. Heidegger, though, he gets a lot of shots off the bounce, creates a lot of his own shots.
Heidegger, a year ago, you talked about it before, Richie, a frustrated player, wasn't hitting a lot of shots, was getting frustrated with the game in general. And Coach Pasternak spoke with us at length today at Shoot-Around about reformatting his shot, saying he used to be such a good athlete, they'd kind of let it go on the descent. They reworked him so he's shooting on the way up. His accuracy, his form, everything's improved. And 21 points per game, the numbers speak for themselves.
Well, a lot of fundamentally sound coaches teach the 1-2 step into your shot. Left foot, right foot, or right foot, left foot, depending on the angle, as Leland King just boarding down inside. And Canty as well.
3 shots at it, but Riverside gets the lucky roll, and they'll come back the other way.
And that's one thing they really worked out with Max. He used to be a hop shooter off 2 feet, and now he's off 1-2. Left foot, right foot.
Heidegger the rebound, and he is harassed the whole way up by Martin. Finally gets some relief with the foul call. First on Martin, first of this half. Check that, second this half on UC Riverside. Substitution, Sylvester in for Riverside, who's coming off a career best 24 points against Cal State Fullerton, and tonight he has been shut out. Heidegger fouled prior to the shot. Foul will go on Rawwire.
this is an area for UC Riverside that's been a struggle all season. They're 1-8 on the road. Oh, and that's just a mental breakdown by the Highlanders. You can't give up a layup at the basket on that a bounce play under. You should have more bodies down there protecting the rim.
54-30, Santa Barbara leading. Larson, the lefty floater, and he is into double figures. First man to do that for UC Riverside. He has 10.
Well, big Larson, from Sweden, as you talked about, won the Swedish championship in 2014, was the MVP, and was named the best center under age of 18 in the country of Sweden.
Pulls down the rebound. Sylvester drive, cannot finish. Rebound to Leland Kings, making moves towards a double-double. Rebound Larson, who has a double-double.
Quietly making things happen. That was a point of concern for Coach Pasternak earlier today, as Alex Larson, such a big, strong body. You've got to be able to guard him better. They're talking about double-teaming him, and they have. But it's the field goal. It's the field goal percentages for UC Riverside. They are getting good looks, just not making the shots.
Right now, neither side is. Back and forth we go. Drive by Martin. He is fouled. It is a block on Gabe Vinson, his second, and it'll take us to a timeout on the floor. 15 minutes, 15 seconds left in regulation. UC Santa Barbara has their sights. Pasternak talked with us before the game about what it did to the program. This gym, the Thunderdome, was so smoky from the fires that they basically spent 2 weeks practicing elsewhere. The Clippers helped them out, let them use their practice facility. High school in the Valley, Sierra Canyon, let them use it. But, thinking about having a Division I program off to its best start in a decade, and you couldn't practice on campus.
Yeah, that's adversity, and it's such a devastating thing that happened. And you could smell the smoke going up 101 North from Southern California last night, and you drove in and you saw the charcoal trees that are still suffering from the fire at that time. They had to push finals week back until the first week of winter quarter, which is on Monday. They let everybody go home 9-10 days early, and finals week, and extended time to study for it. But finals week starts on Monday here, so hence a lot of the students have not even arrived back on campus yet.
One thing you saw throughout the drive up the coastline was, as you mentioned, the charred terrain, and also signs everywhere of people saying thank you firefighters tonight. Oh, yeah. Start off with a big thank you moment for all the first responders here, and it's something that Coach Pasternak is uniquely qualified to help lead a program and a community through. He was, prior to being at Arizona, the head coach at the University of New Orleans right after Hurricane Katrina, and he talked about just trying to use as a teachable moment for your players about how lucky you are, how much you have, and how important it is to give back to those who don't.
It is an education that you're trying to provide these young people, but the aftermath of Katrina led to a lot of financial hardships there at New Orleans. They transitioned out of NCAA Division I after he had some good seasons there. And, the rest is history. He left New Orleans, went to Arizona as an assistant for 2 years before being named the associate head coach for the next 4.
Right now he's got Santa Barbara rolling, not just tonight, but overall. Gauchos up by 22 here. And with the win tonight would improve to 12-4. The best start by a rookie head coach, or I should say first-year head coach for Santa Barbara.
And, he has a pair of really good grad transfers. Leland King from Nevada, Marcus Jackson came from Rice. Both of them had their respective good careers at the previous institutions. But now he's signing new players as well. Amadou Sol chose UC Santa Barbara over some Pac-12 schools. And, the future here, I think, UC Santa Barbara has always been a very good program. Jerry Pym was excellent here as a coach back in the day. Bob Williams had some really, really good teams in his 19 years. And now here he is. He's trying to continue that tradition. This is a tradition of excellence in the Big West Conference.
Now we asked him about what's attractive about Santa Barbara. He said, you can win here. This is a community that's attractive for athletes. You can come here, spend 4 years here, and leave with a trip to the dance. And that's what he believes he can bring back to the Thunderdome. 21-point lead after Sylvester finally got in the scorer's ledger. Riverside's top scorer in their loss Wednesday at Fullerton with a career-high 24 on the board with 1. Now a good defensive stop for Riverside, and they'll try and continue to chip away at a 20-plus point deficit. Sylvester all the way in, missed the bank shot, rebound to Lakoju. 3 from Heidegger, in and out. Sylvester all the way, too strong on the lay-in, but an offensive board. 3 ball off the heel, and on the rebound, a foul called this time against UC Riverside.
Again, I'll say the coaching is there for UC Riverside. I mean, they are getting very good looks. They're taking it to the rim, missing some shots there. A lot of kick-out threes are not going down. It's their shooting percentages. I mean, they're not doing a great job of taking care of the basketball. I mean, UC Santa Barbara has like, 5 turnovers and 16 assists. They're outstanding. But when UC Riverside gets a shot off, they're just not dropping.
Riverside coming into tonight was second to last in the conference in team field goal percentage, dead last in three-point percentage. UC Santa Barbara, on the other hand, first in both those categories, and as you said, it's playing out.
Well, now you're seeing, you saw the zone press, and now you're seeing a little bit of a half-court zone, changing the look a little bit. Now, they do that after free throws quite a bit. They've hardly taken any free throws in this game, so you haven't seen that 1-2-2 press back to the 3-2 zone. But, I still wonder. I still think that, changing it up, going to zone could be a good move and get UC Santa Barbara out of the rhythm they're in.
Well, when you watch Riverside, the best thing you see about them is effort. And it's something that is just contagious in practice, obvious from their head coach now, Justin Bell. And it's working here, even against this high-powered Santa Barbara offense. They've been scoreless for more than 4 minutes.
Well, it just makes you wonder, what direction will they go in with the coaching change? It's pretty traumatic. They loved Coach Dennis Cutts. They loved him before he was fired December 30th. He was a roll-up-your-sleeve kind of guy, no entitlement, son of a New York City police officer. He instilled that into this program, into these players. It's still there.
See that hustle there on that play. Martin, fadeaway jumper, won't go on the rebound. Riverside wanted a foul called for a push. Justin Pell hopping that. You see him there in the white shirt. Team down by 21, and he is not going to let the refs get ESPN and the ESPN app with a special Spanish language production on ESPN Deportes. Here in Santa Barbara, it is a heavy margin in favor of Santa Barbara. Gauchos leading 54-33. Sam Farber alongside former NCAA head coach Richie Schuler. And Richie, we went into the break talking about the effort for Riverside. They've forced 9 straight misses now from Santa Barbara. The only problem, they've missed 8 in a row themselves.
Right, and they just went zone again, and they forced a shot and got the rebound and went the other way. But they've got to be able to convert on the other end. They're staying in that zone right now, even after a missed shot. I think they're staying in that zone. So changing it up, making things different. But UC Santa Barbara is such a good rebounding team. They got to make sure they block out if they're going to stay in that zone.
E.D. Diallo checks out. Back in goes Alex Larson. I misspoke earlier. I gave him 1 extra bucket. He's got 8 points to go with 10 rebounds. So he is a bucket shy of a double-double. He's on defense right now. Backing down against him is Canty. Spins baseline up with the right hand, and the miss controlled momentarily by Riverside, and then a foul goes against Santa Barbara anyways.
It's important that UC Riverside, this is a program that hasn't won in a while, but I believe they were beginning to turn the corner. And now with Justin Bell taking over as head coach, they have to teach their players not to be comfortable coming from behind. It's always something difficult to do when you're rebuilding a program. And UC Riverside, I don't think they've had a winning year, 5-6 years. They have the ability and they have the talent to win basketball games. You have to get over that hump and find a way to get them to expect to win, not be behind and get comfortable trying to make the comeback. It's very psychological. It's very important for teams that are trying to overcome a rebuild.
They're going to have a tough homestand next week. They'll host the defending representative from the Big West in the Big Dance, UC Davis, and then Long Beach State. UC Santa Barbara, they've got a tough trip as well, but it's the most enjoyable, I think. They're going to Hawaii.
Hawaii, Rainbow Warriors so good at home. Iran Ganot, what he's done with that program 2 years ago, They won a game, beat Cal in the NCAA tournament last year. Kind of took a little bit of a step back, but a lot of those guys had graduated and moved on, but they redshirted Mike Thomas. Terrific post player. He's back this year. He's their leading scorer. And I think Coach Gannat has done a really good job with that Hawaii program. They're so hard to beat at the Stan Sheriff Center down there.
Hawaii won earlier today, so they're 1-1 in conference play. We're waiting on the final from that Fullerton game, but unless the Titans come out with the victory in it, there will not be a 2-0 team in the Big West after 2 contests. It shows how wild this conference is expected to be.
Talk about parity. And this league had reached some of its highs just a couple years ago, and last year had a little bit of a down season for the conference overall, but a lot of non-conference wins. I believe the Big West beat 4 Pac-12 teams in the non-conference portion of the schedule. They beat some other mid-majors with good RPIs, and this is a league that is back on the way up. Really good teams, excellent coaches.
10 minutes left in regulation, and it doesn't look like overtime is going to be necessary tonight. 21-point lead for UC Santa Barbara. Marcus Jackson with 3 on the shot clock, misses from distance. And the rebound controlled by UC Riverside. Martin into the corner. 3 with some contact, no call as Sylvester missed it. Long rebound corralled by Santa Barbara. King for 3. Missed it short. Rebound to Murray. How about that rejection from Jalen Canty? Conference leader in blocks, adds to his total.
With a lefty going to the basket, has to find a way to finish with his right hand, not his left hand. Beautiful help side rotation. Jalen Canty, that's why he averages almost 2.5 blocks per game in this season. He is a rim protector. Haven't seen him a ton this game because he was in foul trouble early in the first half, but he is terrific. Coming off a game where he had career highs, 21 points at Cal Poly and 6 blocks.
Senior from Oakland leads the Big West, not just in blocks, but field goal percentage as well. Now a turnover by Riverside, and the woes continue for the Highlanders.
So here comes the press. You see Riverside. I'm glad they've been pressing because some teams wait till it's too late. Like 2-3 minutes to go, you're down 25 points. Can't make a comeback then. But now, I mean, it's still not out of the realm of possibility.
Offensive foul whistled on Leland King. Really good game tonight from Alex Larson. You mentioned you wanted to see the press. I'd like to see them give the ball to Larson a bit more. He's a guy that both teams during shoot-around had as a focal point, and he just hasn't had enough touches to me on offense to have an impact there.
Well, he plays so hard. He gets such deep post position. I mean, it's textbook how he posts up. He has his elbows out wide. He gets low in his stance. He uses his legs. He buries his opponent deep under the basket inside that restricted arc. And that's why he's able to get it and just get some easy layups at times.
Jumper falls for Eric Rawwire, redshirt sophomore from Toronto, Canada. Deficit's now under 20. 56-37, Santa Barbara leading. Just under 8.5 minutes remaining here from the Thunderdome, home of UC Santa Barbara. Turnover now for the Gauchos.
So you see that UC Riverside changing it up a little bit, trying to make Santa Barbara think a little bit. When you're thinking as a basketball player instead of reacting instinctively, you're not going to play as well. You're not going to play as freely. So when you mix them up, mix up your defenses, you keep them off balance, that can make you really effective as a defensive team.
Good ball movement here for Riverside. The 3 goes for DJ Sylvester. That's his first 3 of the game.
And now, don't look. 16-point game.
Stranger things.
We've seen it before. You and I have seen it before.
If you've seen bad beats, you've heard Richie.
Oh, give it up. Nice pass.
Lane is good. Dikembe Martin with the deuce, and it forces its
career. 3 years at Rice University before transferring here, and he's done a good job. Small country El Salvador has done a really good job with their national team. Won the silver medal, actually, in that Central American Olympics back in 2013.
Here's a lob, and Sylvester the lay-in. It's now an 11-0 run for UC Riverside. And what was at one point a 23-point lead is down to a dozen. Riverside sticking with the zone defense.
It's working for him. Keep chipping away. You see Santa Barbara not 100% comfortable in it. You see right there, great defense by the Highlanders.
DJ Sylvester gets the rejection, and here come the Highlanders. Sylvester way downtown.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Sam Farber, you all about put this thing away a few minutes ago. You want to retract those words?
Well, now, yeah.
A 21-point game at the time.
Personal 5-0 run here for Sylvester. He's the first Highlander into double figures.
One-on-one down inside now.
Nice move by Lakoju, but still impacting the shot there is Larson.
Look inside of the big fella.
Murray does it on his own. Rebound to Leland King.
He'll shoot that.
Vincent passed it up, finds Jackson. He'll pass up to three, all the way to the lane. Kick out. Vincent for three.
Coach Pasternak looking calm and cool. You know, if he's acting crazy, if he's on his feet, his players will be have the exact same tone. Can't panic in these situations, but you certainly have to tighten things up. They're not doing it there.
Martin, great feed to Larson, who now has the double-double. And a deflection out of bounds. Last touch by Riverside. Alex Larson, the 10 points to go with double-digit rebounds for one of the conference leaders in boards and field goal percentage. 7-point game.
It's important to note here that UC Santa Barbara had 44 points at halftime. Scored 12 points in these 15 minutes.
21 since half for Riverside.
Keep in mind, too, UC Santa Barbara, they had that 21-point lead Thursday and gave it up.
King short on the three. Good box out from Larson. Dembe Martin, lefty lay-in goes.
You see why he's so exciting to watch. The only freshman that was all conference in the Big West a season ago. You see how crafty he is, and he's really improved his strength from last year to this year.
5-point game with less than 5 minutes remaining.
UC Santa Barbara just playing a little bit skittish now. Confidence is gone.
Ball's almost entirely been outside the three-point arc. Heidegger sinks the three. Get the crowd back into it.
When you have a great player like...
This is a much different looking flow offensively for Santa Barbara in a bad way these last 6 minutes.
Credit UC Riverside's defense. They switched it up. They deviated from what they were doing in the first half. The 3-2 zone, the extended 1-2-2 press in the full court, that changes things, and you have to change your attack if you're UC Santa Barbara. You have to be versatile, not just as a player, but as a team as well.
Martin gives it to Rawwire. Nearly missed everything with the three, but the offensive board fails on the putback, and they're going to call goaltending. One of the Gauchos touched the iron while the ball was nearing the rim.
You can't touch the net. You can't touch the rim. Anything that's going to adjust the shot. Now 6-point game. You can never count UC Riverside out. It's a scrappy team. Justin Bell talks about. Let's get in the bunker and scrap away.
Foul called on DJ Sylvester. That's his sexy Big Ten doubleheader on ESPN and also available on the ESPN app. Michigan's won 3 straight at Chrysler Arena against Purdue. In this rivalry game, UC Santa Barbara and UC Riverside, the Gauchos are 23-0 in this building against the Highlanders, but that's under threat right now as it's a 6-point game with less than 4 minutes to go, and off the miss, the Highlanders have the basketball.
UC Santa Barbara shooting 18% here in the second half. They were 57% in the first half. This defense by UC Riverside has been outstanding.
Heidegger comes away with the steal. The Big West leading scorer getting it done on the defensive end. Turnover number 14 for Riverside. Heidegger way downtown.
He is a backbreaker. He's done that twice in this run. You see Riverside gets to like 6 points, and he'll just knock down a three-pointer, just kill their momentum.
His 5th three of the game. Martin off balance, somehow gets it to go. Keeping UCR in it. They're down by 7.
I gotta start putting some pressure on the basketball. You could do a little soft press, but it just takes time off the shot clock. A little pressure, you might force a turnover.
Heidegger again. Too strong this time. Rebounded by Chance Murray. Riverside all the way up the floor. Contested lane for Rawwire won't fall. And then a turnover by Santa Barbara off the rebound. Larson there with the pressure.
But did you see the way the Gaucho players ran the floor? I mean, there was like 3 guys in the paint, and that was in transition, ready to get that rebound. That's hustle.
Martin weaving his way into the paint, pulls up, in and out. Rebound by Jalen Canty. Top 5 rebounder in the conference, secures a big board.
It's important for UC Riverside. Get a stop here. You still have 2 timeouts. Use one of those. Get your players settled. Get a plan. Hit the reset button and go after it in the last minute and a half.
Vincent, fancy dribble, and then the high arcing shots. Timeout, Riverside.
He tried to jumpstart that program early on with transfers. The last 2-3 years, he's built it with high school players, and now they're growing. Sophomores, juniors, and they sprinkle in a transfer here and there, but they are terrific. Cal State Fullerton is a team this year, preseason ranked 3rd, who I think is another team that could compete for the conference championship.
Foul there on Marcus Jackson, his first. It is the 18th foul, though, so free throws coming up, or at least 1-and-1 free throw opportunity for Chance Murray. He's a 68% free throw shooter, the Arizona State transfer who has been to the big dance with the Sun Devils before. He's short.
Can't miss the front end of a one-on-one.
Full court pressure broken by the Gauchos. We're under a minute and a half to play. Led by as many as 24. Riverside trimmed it all the way down to 5 at one point. Now Santa Barbara feeling comfortable with a 9-point lead. Heidegger passes up the shot. Vincent, the drive, leaves it. Canty misses it. The shot clock winding down. Now Riverside has to score here with a minute left to play.
Move that ball around. Look for that open shot.
Nearly a steal for Gabe Vincent. Preseason all-conference selection. Substitution, Dikembe Martin back in the game. Inbound goes right to Murray. Backs his way in. Double pump. Missed the shot. And then a foul on the rebound will go on Larson, and that might just about do it for Riverside.
Well, the only chance they have now is they have to make outside shots. They have 1 timeout to utilize. Perhaps they can set up their press. But UC Riverside needs to attack the paint. Try to get to the basket. See if you can't get fouled to stop the clock and get some points on the board with no clock ticking off. But you have to make some outside shots. You have to attack, and you have to foul and hope that UC Santa Barbara misses their free throws.
Leland King hasn't done much of that this year. Leland King the second, 10th in the conference, a 76% free throw shooter. What can he do? He's first in rebounds, 3rd in scoring, 5th in three-point percentage, 10th in free throws, 1st in hair. 10-point margin. Martin on the fadeaway. He's into double figures, fourth Highlander to get there. He has 10. Santa Barbara content to burn the clock. Now they try and pass down low, and it's stolen away. Dikembe Martin on the push. And the shot is annihilated by Taylor Cansey.
He is a beast. Only played in 10 games a season ago. He has come back hungry, excited, energetic, lost a lot of weight in the offseason, and you can see it's helped his vertical jump, and his timing is impeccable on those blocked shots.
Sylvester misses the three badly, and Riverside looks like they're going to call off the Dogs here.
What a battle for Justin Bell's team, but just not enough. Coach John Pasternak has this UC Santa Barbara squad